Welcome. So, I'm probably like everybody else in America. I do not want to be abducted by aliens. I don't want them to take me up into their spaceship. I don't want them to experiment on any parts of my body. I do not want them sticking things up my fundament. I just don't. I think everybody would agree that that would suck. That would just suck. Uh, you know, Stephen King is known for putting a lot of weird characters in his books. Rednecks, people who are crazy, people who come from broken families, trailer park trash type stuff. People who you would think are ripe for the pickings of an alien abduction. I mean, think about all the Stephen King characters you can, and you'd be like, yeah, 90% of them probably have an alien abduction story in their past. They were taken up into the mothership, and their bunghole was probed. And they were plopped back down into a Stephen King novel, and then all hell broke loose. I'm going to be reviewing Stephen King's novel, The Tommyknockers. I've got a little paperback here. You know, if you've been following my reviews, I've always got the hardcover, I've always got the paperback, and I am also listening along to the audible.com version of the book. I forgot who the voice narrator was on this. He did all right job, though. Sorry, I forgot the name. However, my name is Brian Lee Durfee. I'm the author of The Forgetting Moon, published by Simon & Schuster Saga Press. And this is my Stephen King review series where I review every Stephen King novel in order of publication, from the start of his career to wherever he's at right now. And we're to The Tommyknockers now, which is your typical Stephen King book about a bunch of crazy, weird characters, and quite possibly an alien ship, alien abductions. Who knows what? I'm not going to get into spoilers. I don't do spoilers on this review channel at all. We don't spoil anything. I just talk about books and how much I like them or how much I dislike them. I rarely talk about books that I dislike on the channel. It's mostly books that I like. And I like The Tommyknockers. Now, Stephen King considers this his worst book. If you read interviews with him, he's like, hey man, I wrote that towards the end of my cocaine-fueled, life. He was a drug addict through the 80s. This was the very last book he wrote as a cocaine-addled novelist. He says he don't like it because it's just too out there. It's too meandering. It's too wordy. It's too everything. I mean, and it is. It's like it's got a lot of your typical Stephen King tangents running off into all sorts of directions with characters galore. We start off with the main character, Bobby Anderson, who's out hiking her dog, and she's a writer. Like a lot of Stephen King protagonists, she is a writer. So we get the whole novelist side of things from our main character. She's out walking her dog and she sees something metal that's buried in the dirt out in the forest behind her house. It's on her property. It's a big metal something in there buried. She's like, what is that? Like an old gas tank, an old water tank or what is it? So she starts digging around it. And in typical Stephen King fashion, the more she digs, the more weird things start to happen to her and her dog and her friends and everybody else in the town. I think it's set in a town called Haven, Maine, which is in the same universe as Derry and Castle Rock and all that stuff. But she believes that it's a spacecraft. And that's all I'm going to say, other than my introduction about me, personally, not wanting to be abducted by aliens and have things stick up my bum. I don't know why the aliens do that. I honestly, why is it that That is, why is it that the aliens test us and do their experiments on us? They could be doing dental work on us, and they'd be going up through our anus. They just would. I mean, in every alien abduction story, that's the way it is. I mean, it doesn't matter what part of our body they're testing. They're going in one hole. And I've already mentioned what that hole is several times, to the point that most people probably aren't even watching this video anymore. Tommyknockers, though. It's wordy. It's got a lot of characters. It's at the height of Stephen King's cocaine addiction when he wrote this. That's why he does not like it. He wished he hadn't written it, not because it scared him or anything, just because he thinks it sucks. And it doesn't suck. I mean, it's kind of entertaining. I liked it. I like the quirky characters that Stephen King puts in books, and I love all the little tangents that he sends us off on. Let's break away from the plot a million times in a Stephen King book and go off on a tangent with some character. And this book is full of that stuff, and I love it. I think Stephen King's being a little too harsh on himself when he says he doesn't like this, because I like it. I thought it was a good book. Not one of his best, not one of his worst, probably somewhere in the middle. But I gave you the basic plot of a mysterious thing buried in someone's backyard, and they think it might be a spaceship, and the more she digs at it, the more she uncovers, the more weird stuff starts happening. And that's basically the plot, along with about a million side tangents with about a million other characters, to build up the town and of Haven and explore the world of the Tommyknockers. It's a good book. I mean, I'm not gonna bag on this thing like Stephen King would bag on it. I think it's good. I think it's an iconic kind of. I love this cover, but the hardcover cover. Oh my gosh, what an amazing cover. The paperback, not so much. But whatever. I love collecting a lot of different versions of Stephen King novels. It's just my thing. Let's give the Tommyknockers 7.5 out of 10. That's a pretty average review for me in a Stephen King book. 7.5 out of 10. Now, as you know, every book I write, Forgetting Moon, Blackest Heart, Lonesome Crown, they're all dedicated to Stephen King, Motley Crue, and the Oakland Raiders, because those were the three most important things to me as a kid. So they get a shout out in every book review I do and every book that I write. So, the Tommyknockers. If you want to read the book that Stephen King thinks is garbage, this is the one. But I think it's okay.